hoped never would.
Queen Elizabeth II was the rock on which modern Britain was built.
For the vast majority of us, it feels impossible to imagine a Britain without her.
Millions of us are trying to understand why we are feeling this deep and personal and almost familial sense of loss.
The British people are preparing to bid a final farewell to Queen Elizabeth II. The country's longest-serving sovereign and a single common reference point for all of us, and to some, the person that most bound our sense of national identity. It's been more than 70 years since Britain has seen anything like this. A country saying goodbye to one monarch while also meeting the next.
Queen Elizabeth was a life well lived, a promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing. That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all today.
As her coffin makes its last long journey to London, the new king makes his first visit as monarch to his new kingdom. I'm following him to all four corners of the UK as he prepares to bury his mother. The Queen was often described as a figure of stability and comfort in uncertain times. But will I find a country which can find that same reassurance in him?
That was incredibly dignifying. Amazing to see so many thousands of people all go completely silent as the procession went past.
She's one of the icons of the country, and she's Scottish. You know what I mean? I think Queen of Scots. That's what she calls, doesn't she? Balmoral, her second home.
Do you think King Charles can maintain that level of affection?
I don't think so. I don't think he'll have. Well, he's not going to have the reign that she did. He's maybe got 20 years at most, I would imagine. I don't think he'll get the same love and admiration that she did.
What's she done for Scotland? What do Scottish people think of the Queen?
I think it's probably mixed, but from my perspective, I think she encourages unity. She doesn't make any difference irrelevant of your creed, your religion, your beliefs.
Do you think Charles can do that to the same degree, to the same level of success?
I'm not so sure that I would have believed that beforehand, but I think the way in which he's portrayed himself, certainly in the last week, he's went up really high in my estimations, and I'm behind the king, definitely.
Do you think the new king will be as popular a monarch as his mother?
No, not as popular. He may be popular. I'm sure he will try to follow in her footsteps, but these are very, very big shoes to follow. No, I don't think so. I have to say there's a checkered history there for Charles and Camilla, but I wish him well. But to follow his mother is a very hard act.
Royal roots here in Scotland run deep and often alongside strong nationalist sentiment.
There is a sense that the Queen was almost the glue that held all the devolved nations together, gave us all a shared sense of Britishness, perhaps. Will that now change under King Charles?
Well, I think we have to think about the continuity of monarchy, and it's that always having a monarch that is that beacon of stability. Politics by its very nature is short-lived, but we take reassurance that we will always have a monarch. But the demise of this monarch is clearly a big moment in history, and one that will take quite a lot of adjusting for many, many people till they feel settled. We've had so much change. In a week we saw a new Prime Minister and a new Head of State. That's just extraordinary and unheard of. And people are reeling from all the challenges they're facing in their daily life, and I'm no different.
Scottish independence isn't chiefly motivated by republicanism, but it is an undercurrent. Without the Queen as a unifying force, the movement will likely get stronger.
Through all the years of her reign, the Queen, like so many generations of our family before her, found in the hills of this land and in the hearts of its people a haven and a home.
Do you think Scotland's opinion of the monarchy will change now the Queen has died and Charles has taken the throne?
Well, the position of Scotland with regards to the monarchy has been changing. The monarchy still has majority support in Scotland, but rather less so than in England. That's been going on for the last 30 or 40 years. It's connected with the independence question. On the other hand, you have to separate the position of the monarch from the institution of monarchy, and the late Queen was much more popular than the institution itself, so we'll have to see how the new king fares.
Do you think the King can unify the country in the same way that the Queen did? Because it's quite fractured, isn't it, the UK?
It is, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not frankly sure he's capable of doing that. I hope he is. I'd like to see him do that. But time will tell, if he can pull it together.
When the announcement came to the Queen had died, I was at the football. It was half time at the Hearts game. It was really interesting. So we had a minute's silence that was spoiled by sort of some people sort of anti-monarchy and some people that were sort of trying to sing the national anthem, and they were booed down. So I think, I think it's a real sort of interesting time that we're in.
The Scottish people are the first to say goodbye to the Queen and to meet King Charles close up. Queen Elizabeth famously said that life was full of first meetings and final goodbyes. Her coffin departs Edinburgh in an RAF C-17 for the last time. In Northern Ireland, the King touches down to mark his mother's passing. Here, feelings towards the monarchy are the most polarised of anywhere. But this week, the country's fraught politics take a back seat. In the loyalist Shankill area of Belfast, solemn crowds gather to pay tribute.
It's quite incredible the number of flowers and flags and tributes that have been left here. Thank you, Ma'am, your service is done, says that one. What does that say? In memory of the people's Queen. Little 10-year-old boy, may flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. And they're still coming.
We've always thought highly of the Queen.
Yeah, amazing.
She was absolutely amazing person. We'll never get anyone else like her.
You must have been very sad when you heard that she had passed away.
Very sad. Shed a tear because it came very sudden, because she had just welcomed a new Prime Minister and bid one farewell. It was very sad that 2 days later she had passed, but thankfully it's passed peacefully and has left a nice legacy for us, you know, to be remembered by.
A few streets away in the Republican area of Falls Road, response to the Queen's death and the new monarch's visit is more muted.
Do you have any feelings towards the Queen? Do you have any sort of respect for her, given what she achieved in her lifetime?
Well, I have a wee bit of remorse in the sense of it's someone's grandparent. But other than that, no, not really. That's it. Didn't really bring anything to us in this area.
And is that the feeling more widely, do you think?
Around these areas, yeah. Like there's a lot of hard times around here during the Troubles. And obviously all that there wasn't made easier by the royal family. So we're kind of getting on with our day-to-day life. Nothing's changing.
Well, there's wrong been done that you have to, not say forgive and forget. I don't think you'd ever forget things just has happened. But it's a new day.
A new day which belongs to King Charles. But underlying tensions endure despite the show of unity. Royal supporters screamed and bussed in to cheer his arrival to the royal residence. Inside, he meets the Vice President of Sinn Féin, a growing political force in today's Northern Ireland and its largest party.
Well, we played a great role here in terms of reconciliation and families, so it's the end of an era for sure.
A handshake that is evidence of both progress and uncertainty about what lies ahead.
My mother felt deeply, I know, the significance of the role she herself played in bringing together those whom history has separated, and in extending a hand to make possible the healing of long-held hurts. Now, with that shining example before me, and with God's help, I take up my new duties resolved to seek the welfare of all the inhabitants of Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland is a place where Queen Elizabeth had a very personal influence. Her reign was dotted with symbolic interventions that only she could make.
Those gestures were hugely powerful, just in giving other people in Northern Ireland permission to step away from their historic views, perhaps their very entrenched ideologies, and start to reconcile one with another.
I think if you move forward to where we are now, Michelle O'Neill, who's the Vice President of Sinn Féin and the leader of Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland, making very heartfelt tributes to the Queen and sympathising with the royal family. These are things that, to me, would have been unthinkable 15, 20 years ago. They just wouldn't have happened. So that shows how far we have come, and there is clearly a level of maturity in political discourse in Northern Ireland now, and on the island of Ireland, that we haven't really seen in decades. And it's very refreshing to me, and it's something that has to be built on now by King Charles.
What role does King Charles have in trying to unify the United Kingdom?
I'm not sure that his role necessarily is to promote unionism, but it is to, I think, show that regardless of what the future holds, there is some kind of certainty and stability at the centre, and I think that that can be a hugely important role.
A crowd gathers outside St Anne's Cathedral, captivated by the ceremony inside.
The service has been lovely, you know. I feel like, you know, seeing all those Presbyterian, Church of Ireland, different ministers from across different Christian backgrounds is so important, especially in Northern Ireland, and it's lovely to see the unity across the political spectrum, even those who are opponents to the monarchy paying their respect for the Queen.
First of all, I would like to pay tribute to the work that Her late Majesty has done for peace and reconciliation on this island of Ireland and between our two islands. In fact, I think she should be proclaimed Regina Pacis, Queen of Peace, for what she has done. I'm quite sure that King Charles will follow in the footsteps of his mother.
In time, we'll see how much King Charles deviates from the Queen's path. But for now, his duty is to deliver his mother over to her people. The Queen has arrived at her official home for the last time. Tomorrow, her coffin will be handed over to Lyne State. It will be a day of pageantry and ceremony that has not been seen in a lifetime. Thousands of people have filled the streets of the capital to see the Queen's coffin, an opportunity to see history unfold before their eyes.
Well, this is incredible. The number of people here is unbelievable. I was here during the Platinum Jubilee and the atmosphere is so different. It's, I wouldn't say it's sombre or sad, but it's very quiet, and I think people are being genuinely respectful. Members of the armed forces here, people who look like they've come from work.
Okay, I'm tired.
All ages, actually.